Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever known the right English words, understood the grammar, and still remained silent? Not because you had nothing to say, but because fear spoke louder than your voice. The biggest obstacle to speaking English fluently is not your vocabulary. It is not your accent. It is not even your grammar. The biggest obstacle is the belief that you must be perfect before you speak. One of the biggest reasons people struggle to speak English fluently is not because they lack vocabulary or grammar. It is because they have trained their minds to depend on their native language before speaking. Every time they want to say something, their brain first creates the sentence in their own language, then begins translating it into English. This process feels normal because it is the habit they have followed for years. But what feels normal is actually slowing them down. Translation creates hesitation. It creates confusion. It creates long pauses that make you lose confidence before you even finish your first sentence. Imagine trying to have a conversation while carrying a heavy backpack on your shoulders. Every step requires extra effort. That is exactly what translating does to your speaking. Instead of allowing your thoughts to flow naturally, your mind keeps stopping to search for the right words, correct grammar, and proper sentence structure. By the time you finally find the answer, the conversation has already moved on. This is why many learners understand English but struggle to speak it. The problem is not knowledge. The problem is the habit of translation. Children never learn their first language by translating. They learn through listening, repeating, and connecting words directly with real situations. When a child hears the word water, they do not think of another language first. They immediately connect the word with the object they see and use every day. Their brain creates a direct connection between the English word and its meaning. That is exactly how you must train your mind if you want to become fluent. Every English word should create an image in action or a feeling inside your mind instead of a translated sentence. When you hear the word apple, you should instantly picture an apple, not the word in your native language. When someone says sit down, your brain should immediately understand the action without translating it. When you hear good morning, your response should come naturally without searching for meaning. This direct connection is the foundation of fluent speaking. Many learners believe they need thousands of vocabulary words before they can stop translating. The truth is completely different. You only need to become comfortable with the words you already know. A small vocabulary used quickly is far more powerful than a large vocabulary trapped behind translation. It is better to speak simple English confidently than to know difficult words you never use. Start making English a part of your everyday thinking. When you wake up in the morning, look around your room and name everything in English. Say, this is my bed, that is my window, my phone is on the table, I need to drink water, I have to brush my teeth. These may seem like very simple sentences, but they train your brain to create thoughts directly in English. Over time, this habit becomes stronger than the habit of translation. Whenever you are walking outside, describe what you see in English. Think, the sky is blue, the road is busy, a man is riding a bicycle, children are playing. The weather feels nice today. Your goal is not perfect grammar. Your goal is to build the habit of thinking without switching back to your native language. Another powerful exercise is to talk to yourself throughout the day. Describe your actions while you are doing them. Say, I am making tea. I am opening my laptop. I need to answer this email. I am getting ready for work. This continuous practice teaches your mouth and your brain to work together without waiting for translation. At first, it may feel slow and uncomfortable. That is completely normal because you are building a new mental pathway. You should also reduce your dependence on bilingual dictionaries. Whenever possible, use an English to English dictionary. Read simple definitions instead of translating every word into your own language. This forces your brain to stay inside English instead of jumping between two different languages. The more time your mind spends inside English, the faster your fluency grows. Listening also plays an important role in breaking the habit of translation. Listen to English every day, even if you do not understand every single word. Your brain slowly becomes familiar with common sentence patterns, pronunciation, and natural expressions. After hearing the same phrases again and again, your mind begins recognizing them automatically. You stop translating because your brain already knows what they mean. Do not be afraid to use simple words. Many learners remain silent because they are searching for perfect vocabulary. Fluent speakers are not fluent because they always know the most advanced words. They are fluent because they know how to express ideas using the words they already have. If you cannot remember one word, explain your idea with different words instead of stopping. Communication is always more important than perfection. There will be moments when your mind automatically switches back to your native language. Do not become frustrated. Every new habit takes time to replace an old one. The important thing is to notice it and gently bring your thoughts back to English. Every time you do this, you strengthen a new habit. Every day you spend thinking directly in English is another step towards speaking naturally, confidently, and without hesitation. Speaking English fluently is not something that happens because you watched hundreds of videos, memorized thousands of vocabulary words, or completed every grammar exercise you could find. Fluency is created when your mouth learns to move naturally, confidently, and consistently. Many people train their eyes by reading English. They train their ears by listening to English. They train their minds by learning grammar rules. But they forget to train the one part that actually speaks, their mouth. That is why they understand English but struggle when it is their turn to say even a simple sentence. Your mouth needs practice, just like an athlete's body needs training. No athlete becomes stronger by reading books about exercise. They become stronger by repeating the same movements every day. A singer does not develop a powerful voice by studying music alone. They practice singing every single day. A musician does not perform beautifully by only watching concerts. They pick up their instrument and play it again and again. Speaking English works exactly the same way. The more your mouth produces English sounds, words, and sentences, the more natural speaking becomes. Many learners wait for the perfect moment. They tell themselves, I will start speaking when my grammar is perfect. Others say, I need to learn 5,000 more words before I can speak confidently. Some believe they need an American or British accent before opening their mouths. But perfection is not the starting point. Practice is. The people who become fluent are not the people who know the most rules. They are the people who use the language every day, even when they make mistakes. Your brain and your mouth must work together. At the beginning, your brain sends a sentence, but your mouth hesitates because it is not used to producing those sounds. That hesitation is completely normal. It does not mean you are bad at English. It simply means your speaking muscles have not been trained enough. Every sentence you speak builds a stronger connection between your thoughts and your voice. Every repetition reduces hesitation. Every conversation makes speaking a little easier than it was yesterday. This is why daily practice is more powerful than occasional long study sessions. Speaking for 15 or 20 minutes every day is often more effective than practicing for 3 hours once a week. Small, consistent efforts create lasting habits. Your mouth becomes familiar with common sentence patterns. Your tongue becomes comfortable with English pronunciation. Your confidence grows because your brain realizes that speaking English is becoming part of your daily routine instead of a rare challenge. Do not underestimate the power of speaking out loud. Reading silently improves understanding, but reading aloud improves expression. When you read aloud, your mouth learns how words connect naturally. You begin to notice rhythm, pronunciation, and sentence flow. You become aware of sounds that were difficult before. Over time, those difficult sounds become easier because your mouth has repeated them hundreds of times. Another powerful habit is describing your daily life in English. Talk about what you are doing, what you are thinking, where you are going, or what you plan to do next. You do not need an audience. You do not need perfect sentences. You only need consistency. While making breakfast, describe the ingredients. While walking outside, describe the weather. While organizing your room, explain each action in English. These simple moments turn ordinary activities into speaking practice without requiring extra time in your day. Do not be afraid to repeat the same sentences many times. Repetition is not a sign of weakness. It is the foundation of mastery. Children learn their first language by hearing and repeating simple expressions again and again. They do not become embarrassed because they said the same sentence yesterday. They repeat until speaking becomes automatic. Adults often avoid repetition because they think it is boring, but repetition is exactly what builds fluency. Every repeated sentence strengthens your speaking ability. Record your voice regularly. The first recording may sound uncomfortable. You may notice pauses, pronunciation mistakes, or a lack of confidence. That is not failure. That is feedback. Listen carefully, identify one thing to improve, and record yourself again. After several weeks, compare your new recordings with the old ones. You will hear improvements that you never noticed while practicing. Progress becomes easier to see when you have evidence of how far you have come. Shadowing is another excellent way to train your mouth. Listen to a native speaker and repeat immediately after them. Copy not only the words, but also the rhythm, speed, and pronunciation. This exercise teaches your mouth to move naturally without stopping to translate every word. At first, you may struggle to keep up, but with daily repetition, your speech becomes smoother and more confident. Remember that confidence does not appear before action. Confidence grows because of action. Every time you choose to speak instead of staying silent, you teach yourself that fear does not control your future. Every sentence you complete is another victory. Every mistake becomes another lesson. Every day of practice brings you closer to the version of yourself that speaks English naturally. There will be days when you feel that your progress is slow. Some days your words will come easily, and other days you will hesitate more than usual. That is part of learning any skill. What matters is not having a perfect day. What matters is refusing to skip the training. A single missed day may not seem important, but consistent practice builds momentum, and momentum creates transformation. Keep training your mouth, keep speaking every day, keep repeating simple sentences with confidence, and allow daily practice to become a habit so deeply rooted that speaking English no longer feels like a subject you study, but a natural part of who you are. One of the biggest reasons people never become fluent in English has nothing to do with grammar, vocabulary, or pronunciation. It has everything to do with fear. The fear of making mistakes, the fear of being laughed at, the fear of sounding different, the fear of speaking in front of people who seem more fluent than you. These fears are so powerful that they convince thousands of learners to remain silent, even when they already know enough English to hold a simple conversation. Every time they get an opportunity to speak, they choose silence instead of practice. They tell themselves, I need to learn a little more first. But that little more never seems to end because fear always creates another excuse. The truth is that mistakes are not evidence that you are failing. They are evidence that you are learning. Think about how a child learns to speak. No child speaks perfectly on the first day. They pronounce words incorrectly. They use the wrong grammar. They repeat the same sentence many times before they finally say it correctly. Yet nobody tells that child to stop speaking until they become perfect. Everyone encourages them because everyone understands that speaking comes before perfection. Somehow, when we become adults, we forget this simple truth. We expect ourselves to sound fluent from the very beginning, and when reality does not match that expectation, we lose confidence. Confidence is not something that appears before action. Confidence is created by action. Most people believe they need confidence before they start speaking English. In reality, they need to start speaking English before confidence can grow. Every sentence you speak is another small victory over fear. Every conversation teaches your brain that speaking English is safe. Every mistake becomes a lesson that improves your next sentence. Confidence is built through repetition, not imagination. Imagine two English learners. The first learner spends 3 hours every day studying grammar rules, memorizing vocabulary lists, and watching lessons without speaking a single sentence aloud. The second learner studies for 1 hour but spends another 30 minutes speaking English every day, even if they make mistakes in every sentence. After 30 days, who do you think will speak more fluently? The second learner, because fluency is not created by what stays inside your notebook. Fluency is created by what comes out of your mouth. Speaking is a physical skill. Just like learning to swim, ride a bicycle, or play a musical instrument, it cannot be mastered by observation alone. Many learners believe that people will judge every mistake they make. In reality, most people are too busy thinking about themselves to analyze every word you say. Even native speakers make grammar mistakes, forget words, mispronounce names, and correct themselves during conversations. Perfection does not exist even among fluent speakers. Communication has never been about speaking perfectly. It has always been about expressing ideas clearly enough for another person to understand. There will be days when you forget simple words. There will be moments when your mind suddenly becomes blank. You may start a sentence and realize halfway through that you do not know how to finish it. These moments are completely normal. They happen to every language learner. They even happen to people speaking their first language. What matters is not avoiding these situations. What matters is learning to continue speaking despite them. Replace the missing word with an easier one. Explain the idea differently. Use simple sentences instead of complicated ones. Communication rewards creativity more than perfection. Your brain learns through repetition. Every time you speak English, your brain strengthens the pathways responsible for producing the language. At first, finding the right words feels slow and difficult. Then, after enough repetition, those same words begin to appear automatically. The sentences that once required several seconds of thinking begin to flow naturally. This transformation is not magic. It is the result of consistent speaking practice. The more often you speak, the less energy your brain needs to produce English. Stop treating mistakes like enemies. Start treating them like teachers. Every mistake reveals exactly what you need to improve. If you never speak, you never discover your weaknesses. If you never discover your weaknesses, you never know what to practice. Your mistakes provide valuable feedback that no textbook can give you. They show you which sounds need more practice, which grammar rules need more attention, and which vocabulary words you should use more often. One conversation every day is more valuable than waiting for the perfect moment that never arrives. Speak to yourself while walking. Describe your daily routine in English. Read short paragraphs aloud. Repeat sentences from videos. Record your voice on your phone and listen carefully. Join conversations whenever possible. The goal is not to impress people. The goal is to make speaking such a normal habit that fear no longer controls your decisions. The difference between people who become fluent and those who remain stuck is rarely intelligence. It is consistency. Fluent speakers are not fearless people. They are people who decided that making progress was more important than protecting their pride. They understood that every confident speaker was once an uncertain beginner. They accepted that awkward conversations are part of the journey. They kept speaking when their pronunciation was imperfect. They kept speaking when they forgot words. They kept speaking when they felt nervous. With every sentence, fear became weaker and confidence became stronger, because courage grows every time you choose action instead of silence. Today, I want you to make a different choice. I want you to choose progress over perfection. Every fluent English speaker you admire was once a beginner who stumbled, made mistakes, and kept speaking anyway. Your mouth is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger, faster, and more confident it becomes. Fluency is not a gift reserved for a lucky few. It is a habit built through daily practice, one sentence at a time. If you are willing to train your mouth every single day, if you are willing to replace fear with action, then the next 30 days can transform not only the way you speak, but the way you see yourself. So today, let's begin a journey that has the power to change your confidence, your opportunities, and your future. Let's train your mouth to speak English fluently in 30 days.